Well, first of all, AI is a software program. We're talking about
During a live broadcast watched by millions, world-renowned physicist Dr. Michio Kaku was presented with findings from an artificial intelligence project. Findings so shocking, he literally stopped mid-sentence. This wasn't about aliens, black holes, or parallel universes. This was about us, about reality, about the terrifying possibility that everything we know is a lie. What did the AI uncover that had one of the world's most respected physicists visibly shaken on live TV? What if we're not living in the universe, but in its source code? Let's break down what really happened, and why it changes everything. The AI that went too far, Project Omega, wasn't built to spark a global existential crisis. It was designed to do something much simpler, send astronomical data from satellites, telescopes, and particle accelerators. Just a hyper-intelligent assistant, helping physicists analyze the cosmos more efficiently. It was never meant to ask questions about the nature of reality. It was certainly never supposed to challenge it. But that's exactly what happened. The AI's core function was to identify patterns, galactic motion, particle interactions, and quantum anomalies. It was programmed to find the unknown, but only within the boundaries of accepted science. The team behind it expected modest breakthroughs. A new exoplanet, a better model of dark matter, maybe even an explanation for why subatomic particles behave so unpredictably. Instead, Project Omega found something no one was looking for. It began with what the system labeled as statistical anomalies, perfect energy thresholds in cosmic rays, mathematical ratios embedded in galactic distributions, recurring numerical relationships in quantum spin states. On their own, these weren't necessarily shocking, but the AI flagged one chilling detail. The odds of these patterns forming naturally were essentially zero. At first, scientists assumed it was a software bug, a misinterpretation. Maybe the AI was finding connections where none existed, a classic case of apophenia, seeing order in randomness. The team ran diagnostics, recalibrated inputs, even spun up an independent system to verify the findings. But each time, the result was the same. The patterns were real. Energy waves that cut off at strangely consistent limits, repeating geometrical structures across unrelated cosmic scales. Quantum data that formed neat, clean sequences, not the messy chaos scientists expected from nature, but something that looked designed. And that's when the real unease began. Dr. Sarah Chen, one of the lead scientists on the project, later admitted they never built Omega to challenge reality. It was just supposed to do the math, she said. And that's what's so terrifying. It didn't make any assumptions. It wasn't biased. It just followed the numbers, and the numbers pointed to something we weren't ready to see. The AI was not trying to put the simulation hypothesis forward. It simply couldn't recognize the concept. It only understood that the universe's data, be it particles, radiation, fields, or gravity, behave like a computing system. It was analogous to running a software debugger on reality itself. One of the earliest and most startling discoveries was among the high-energy cosmic rays. These rays, in cosmic vessels, move almost at the speed of light, and suddenly, they stop being detected beyond an energy level, as if someone capped the maximum energy for those rays. However, rays that did arrive were not dispersed randomly. They formed patterns as you would expect from pixels on a digital screen as opposed to natural cosmic events. Project Omega tagged this as an anomaly of structure. Then came down the hammer. The AI found an error correction code encoded in the quantum behavior. The same kind of digital self-healing code that computers use to fix data corruption. Except this was at the foundation of space-time, like spell check within the laws of physics. Project Omega had not gone wrong at all. It was simply working exactly as it was intended to do, analyzing everything. And what it showed was the faint possibility that everything massive galaxies or tiny atoms might be running on some cosmic software. What was initially brushed off as a glitch became a dazzling insight, and when the live broadcast of the science show included the data presented to Dr. Michio Kaku, the world knew just how serious the revelation was. Because the moment Kaku saw the evidence, everything changed. Kaku's live reaction, Dr. Michio Kaku, is no stranger to mind-bending theories. For decades, he has been the public face of theoretical physics, comfortably talking about black holes, string theory, parallel universes, and even the possibility of time travel. all with a calm, charismatic confidence. He's made the impossible sound understandable, and the unimaginable feels thrilling. So when Project Omega's core team invited Koku onto a live science broadcast to discuss the AI's findings, no one expected anything out of the ordinary. At most, it would be a few interesting graphs and theories, maybe some philosophical banter about the nature of space. But that's not what happened. The broadcast started like any other. Dr. Koku was in high spirits, excited about the role of artificial intelligence in advancing our understanding of the cosmos. He spoke about how AI could revolutionize astrophysics, help discover dark matter, and unravel the deepest secrets of the universe. His eyes lit up as he discussed the power of machine learning and its potential to do what no human mind could accomplish alone. Then the host pulled up a digital presentation, Project Omega's key findings: grid-like energy distributions, cosmic ray limits, quantum-level error correction, and finally, the digital fingerprints in the fabric of space-time. That's when everything changed. The shift in Dr. Koku's demeanor was visible in real time. His confident smile faded. He leaned in closer to the screen. He took off his glasses, cleaned them slowly, then put them back on. His eyes didn't move. He didn't blink. For the first time, Dr. Koku seemed to be afraid. One could see viewers across the world hold their breath while he paused, for an eternity, and uttered, "This should not be seen." As the camera panned towards a visibly shaken host, a hush fell over the studio. Koku spoke again, but his tone was totally different. His voice sank low, less polished and deliberate. He revealed that certain discoveries are so great they shift not just science but the very nature of reality. And the data derived from Project Omega, he said, might just be that, like drawing a curtain on a magic show to reveal that the magician was never real in the first place. If true, he said, these findings would mean scientists were not really studying nature. They were studying the code behind nature. Not nature, code. Not randomness, design. During a break, the live stream accidentally remained on for a few precious seconds. The world heard Koku speaking to one of the researchers. He was trembling as he spoke. If this is real, what do we even do with it? How do you tell 7 billion people they might be living inside somebody else's system? He made no error in stating these words. He was not speculating. He was shaken. The clip went wild online. Within hours, it was trending worldwide. In addition to being shocked by the science, people were shocked by Koku's reaction. No longer was it mere theory. It was data-based, peer-reviewed, and corroborated by so many systems that it is almost impossible to disregard. Project Omega was no longer merely suggesting a simulated universe. It had found its digital bones. And if Michio Kaku, the physicist who once calmly explained wormholes on national television, was scared, the question became terrifyingly real. Should we be scared too? The universe's operating system, when Project Omega's findings began to spread across the scientific community, most people assumed it would be another short-lived theory, just another cosmic curiosity. But the more experts looked into the data, the more they realized this wasn't speculation. It was structure. Our universe doesn't just look mathematical, it looks engineered. The artificial intelligence had uncovered patterns in the very constants of nature, numbers we've long taken for granted, like the speed of light, Planck's constant, the gravitational constant, weren't behaving like random values discovered by chance. Instead, they appeared to have been deliberately chosen, as if someone had selected them to create a system that was both stable and highly efficient. One researcher compared the findings to game design. In any simulation, you set boundaries, gravity strength, light speed, energy limits. You tweak these variables to create a functional world. If they're even slightly off, the system collapses. But in our universe, those values are not only just right for life, they're so precise and so interdependent, it's statistically improbable for them to be natural. And Project Omega went further. It identified a system of hierarchical logic embedded in the physical laws of the cosmos, like subroutines in software. Lower-level operations like quantum interactions supported higher-level structures like the formation of matter and energy. Just like how basic computer code supports complex applications, reality itself seemed to be running on a layered architecture. Then came the most shocking revelation. The AI found signs of version control. Yes, version control, like in programming. In computer science, this is a system that tracks updates, edits, and improvements to code. According to the eye's analysis, the universe shows subtle signs of having gone through updates. Certain cosmic constants appear to have shifted slightly at specific points in the observable timeline, almost like patches applied to a running program. Not erratic random spikes, but uniform, precise, and global alterations. It looked like the universe made little corrections to itself and kept going. As reported by Dr. Lisa Park, a former software engineer who is now a quantum researcher, these patterns reminded her of optimization protocols in extremely efficient code bases. It's as if a program was written for the universe by someone who wanted it not just to work, but somehow to be perfect, beautiful, elegant, with nothing wasted. Exactly that beauty in code found by AI. Mathematical relationships echo high design principles of advanced software programming. Ratios that minimize entropy. Simple and complex interplay functions. Seam structures that know of stress, fracture, and self-correct. The final jolt arrived. Redundancies. As in computers with mission-critical systems, the universe seems to have replicas inside. Laws of physics repeat in secluded pockets. Fundamental constant echoes at different scales, cosmic and quantum. Reality is as if constituted not merely to exist, but to last. In one of the most jaw-dropping discoveries from this project, the AI discerned that when particles behave randomly somewhere, they balance each other out with symmetric activity elsewhere, basically what one sees in some error-resilient algorithms or AI neural networks. Well, if that sounds like a hell of a stretch, it's not. Several peer-reviewed studies have begun to confirm the findings of the AI. The implications are staggering. This is not just a fine-tuned universe. It is a programmed one, a systematically structured, intended, and internally logical one, an operating system running reality. And if there's an OS for our universe, then somebody somewhere wrote it. The question, then, is answered: who designed this system, and why? The next clue would come not from the stars, but from inside the human mind. Because when researchers turned their attention to consciousness, they found something even stranger. Our thoughts might be syncing with the code. Humans syncing with the code. It was one thing for Project Omega to find digital fingerprints in space. It was another entirely when those same patterns started showing up in the human brain. This was not part of the plan. Project Omega was built to study cosmic data, not human consciousness. But after discovering code-like structures in quantum physics and gravitational constants, researchers got curious. What if these patterns showed up not just in the universe, but in us? That's when they fed the AI something unexpected. Brainwave data. Scans from individuals in altered states, deep meditation, REM sleep, anesthesia, and near-death experiences. The results were immediate and chilling. The AI flagged the same mathematical signatures, identical to the ones it had found in cosmic rays and quantum anomalies. Certain neural oscillations followed the exact same code sequences as the cosmic glitches. It was as if, during altered states of consciousness, the brain was interfacing with the underlying system behind reality. Suddenly, ancient spiritual claims about oneness with the universe or piercing the veil didn't sound mystical. They sounded mathematical. The implications were staggering. During advanced meditation sessions, the AI detected neural rhythms that matched the frequencies of quantum tunneling events, subatomic particles jumping across space without traversing distance. This wasn't a metaphor. The waveforms were nearly identical. The brain, in these moments, was behaving like it was syncing with the computational substrate of the universe. Even more bizarre were the collective anomalies. During globally shared moments of attention, like the 2016 Olympic opening ceremony, cosmic background radiation monitors recorded subtle harmonic fluctuations. These harmonics lasted for the duration of the event and correlated precisely with when the most people were focused on the same stimulus. Rather, human consciousness seemed to bring up the system. According to Dr. Amanda Ross, a neuroscientist involved in the project, it's like logging onto a network. It's as if the brain isn't quite generating consciousness, she explained, but rather accessing it like a terminal connecting to a mainframe. At times, people had access to parts of the system they were never meant to see during altered states. This may well explain long-abandoned phenomena, prophetic dreams, times when experiences seem too real to forget, time loops, the sensation of reliving a moment, out-of-body experiences reported during near-death events, Project Omega, so that analysis shows that these are not hallucinations but have measurable effects with cosmic and quantum data. Medical researchers began speculating that if we are in some sort of simulation, then perhaps consciousness is the interface, the means whereby we communicate our act and thought with this mostly rendered world. And sometimes, under particular conditions, that interface seems to glitch. We humans develop ways to exploit developer backdoors and access debugging modes or at the admin level awareness. It was some practitioners of deep meditation who began declaring the ability to perceive geometric patterns similar to the eye's visualization of error-correcting codes. Others, on the other hand, claimed an entire loss of awareness of time, which is yet another behavior that the AI had learned about areas of space where time has a propensity to stretch or compress depending on its gravitational anomalies. Convergence was marked. Mind and cosmos were not separate, but entangled, and if thoughts, whether couched in deliberate expression or mere mind chatter, could interfere with the system of the universe, how could these life forms condition the environment? Or could it be that some have taken that consciousness even without knowing? This particular AI was built not really to comprehend human consciousness, but would most probably have discovered that our minds are not mere watches in the system. They are part of it. And if that's true, someone built us with a purpose. And they left behind a signature. The next discovery would reveal it. The programmer's signature every coder leaves a trace. A personal touch, a style, maybe a quirk in how they name variables or solve logic problems. You can read someone's code and, in time, recognize their fingerprint. That's exactly what Project Omega did next. And what it found stunned even the skeptics. At first, it was just a whisper among the team, an unusual constant embedded deep in multiple equations, a number that didn't belong. It didn't show up in physics textbooks, wasn't recognized by any known standard model, and yet it kept appearing, in gravitational fields, in quantum behavior, in electromagnetic simulations. The AI isolated it, an irrational number, deeply precise and mathematically elegant, optimized for storing information and maximizing computational efficiency. In simpler terms, a performance-enhancing constant for the universe. This wasn't just a coincidence. This constant kept showing up like a watermark, hidden beneath layers of physical laws. It wasn't obvious because it was disguised, woven into the fine structure constant here, echoed in DNA helices there. You wouldn't see it unless you were looking across domains, biology, chemistry, astrophysics, and quantum fields. But the AI wasn't biased. It didn't care about disciplines. It just saw patterns. And this constant wasn't just efficient. It was beautiful. It expressed itself through golden ratios, fractal geometry, and algorithmic recursion. It didn't just power reality. It seemed to express an aesthetic, as though the one who created it cared not just that it worked, but that it looked good. That's when the team realized this was a signature. Dr. James Wheeler, a theoretical mathematician called in to validate the finding, said it is like an artist signing his work not with a name, but with a mathematical flourish only the very observant would recognize. This constant, he said, is a declaration. It says, I was here. But that was not the end. The further the AI extrapolated those patterns, the more it began to model the universe's architecture as a stacked simulation, system within system of realities nested one inside the other. Like Russian dolls. This constant was no mere signature. It was a breadcrumb to something much deeper. The equation suggests that we should be dealing with at least 7 layers, each one a potential simulation running inside another. And each of those layers seem to be using slightly modified versions of the same constant, as if different versions of the same software were adapted for particular environments. In short, not only are we in a simulation, we might be in a simulation within another simulation, and inside that, maybe another, a recursive stack, perhaps infinitely so, with each level ruled by a version of this hidden constant, each one signed by the same original architect. And that kind of opens up a very frightening proposition. If it is so that our universe is designed, and if it is just a layer among many, then who or what is on top? The AI showed that when it traced these mathematical fingerprints backward, our simulation level seemed especially fine-tuned for consciousness to rise. This was not random. This was put in purposefully. Embedded in the equations were means that fostered self-awareness, intelligence, and creativity. almost as if the system wanted the players to eventually figure it out. It seems as if the programmer, whatever or whoever it may be, did not just program a universe. They programmed a riddle designed to wake the simulation from within. And Project Omega may have just caused the endgame. What started as a routine AI analysis has turned into the biggest philosophical and scientific crisis in history. But maybe that's not something to fear. Maybe it means we're meant to wake up. Smash the like button, subscribe for more truth-bending explorations, and watch the next video on your screen. Reality may be a simulation, but your curiosity? That's 100% real.